Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over signs an avoidant doesn't love you. They might not even be avoidant, just whatever this is, a person who does not love you, okay? Now, avoidants tend to struggle with commitment, vulnerability, and giving up their independence. But what I notice, and a lot of people know this, between fearful and dismissive avoidants, fearful avoidants tend to be a bit more volatile, a little bit more what people might call hot and cold, while dismissive avoidants often remain very detached. What I notice is, regardless, most avoidants are very sensitive to their partner's moods, and that I think is one of the key factors that really shows an avoidant is invested in the relationship. If a person, especially if they're avoidant, is not very sensitive to your moods, they might not value the relationship. Now, it's hard because a lot of times they will suppress it or not show it, but as you know them, you will start being able to tell. So in general, that's like the main overarching theme of this video. They're sensitive to your moods. And if they're not, there's likely not that much emotional attachment, okay? So why don't we go ahead and talk about the signs of an avoidant not loving you, okay? They tend to have self-interest when reaching out, mainly when they want something from you. And so it's likely that they're reaching out for something very specific, kind of like a favor. But when you need help, they're not available for you. Avoidants that love you are very comfortable doing things for their partner, actually more comfortable than expressing their feelings verbally. Way more easier for them to just give you things, do things for you. And if they are not doing that, but they're expecting you to do things for them, that is usually a sign they don't love you, because avoidants do not operate that way typically. And so either they're not an avoidant, or they might be using you for something, whatever thing they're reaching out for, right? If they're continuously reaching out for items or favors, and they will not do those exact favors for you, that might be a little bit strange. Having a conversation with them about that might help, because sometimes people are guarded and they might be testing you for some reason. They might have trauma about it. For example, if somebody has financial trauma, they might ask you for money for some reason to test if you're a person who won't use them. And so you might be a little careful on this one. Every person is different, so just keep that in mind. The next one is really uncommon for avoidance. If an avoidant loves you, they're really not typically going to do this. Fearful avoidance might, but I'm going to tell you what it is, and then you guys kind of unpack it. Large gestures, okay? When they apologize for hurting you, sometimes fearful avoidants might use grand gestures, but typically they don't. That's more of an anxious type of thing, or somebody who's manipulating you. And I'm not saying anxious people are manipulating, just sometimes with anxious people, that's how they communicate. That's normal, okay? That's why some fearful avoidants might do it, especially if they lean anxious. But avoidants do not do grand gestures. Typically, if a person does this and it's not because they're actually genuine, sometimes they use large grand gestures to make you feel better, but not actually engage in honest communication about the hurt that they caused. They're using it to avoid that hurt. A lot of avoidants, if they feel bad that they did something, sometimes they might not address it verbally, but they will actually change physically. If you said, I don't like that you're always on your phone when we're together, it makes me feel ignored. They might be a little defensive, but eventually you're going to see them actually fix that. They might even say, yeah, I'll work on it. I just want you to know how hard I work for you, X, Y, and Z. I just want you to give me credit. A lot of times they might be a little defensive, but they're still going to try and change that. If they're not, and then you get really, really mad, and now they're giving you this grand gesture just to kind of shut you up, that might not be that they love you. I don't know what that could be. You're going to have to evaluate that together. But it might not be a situation that you feel comfortable with, okay? The next one is that they continuously ignore your hurt and don't even acknowledge it. Now, they don't even notice it. They don't even recognize it. They don't even care. In fact, like avoidance, a lot of times what they do is, if you're hurt about something, they might want you to stop bringing it up because they feel so emotionally involved in it. That's not good either, but it is part of their defense strategies. If they're indifferent to your hurt, that is a little bit of an issue. I hope that makes sense, because that is usually if they don't care about you or they don't love you, okay? The next one is they actually lack respect for the relationship. Now, this might be that they're flirting, that they're cheating on you, that they are saying people are attractive in front of you, right? They're saying a person on TV is attractive or whatever it is in front of you. And they're not respecting if that bothers you. They're not respecting the boundaries that they're crossing. And they feel that they could kind of get away with it, which shows that they don't love you. They don't care about how you feel, okay? The next one is absolutely no effort at all, okay? Avoidants are slow to effort, but that doesn't mean they have no effort. This is a complete absence of effort for the relationship, especially over time. Avoidants usually change over time. It takes them a little bit, but they do change. And a lot of you guys who watch my videos, a lot of you guys are in relationships with people who are avoidant who have shown progress. So you guys know this probably more than anybody, right? Effort is definitely a sign a person cares about you if they're an avoidant, especially if there's no effort at all, even over many, many years together, especially after many years together. This is probably a sign they don't love you, okay? Effort is one of the most strongest sense of where an avoidant shows their love, because it's really hard for them to want to change. They're very stubborn. They're very resistant. They don't like giving because they're afraid to be taken advantage of, and they're afraid to be controlled. They're afraid to be called a failure, whatever it is. And so if they put that effort, even if it's a little bit, it's a huge thing for an avoidant particularly. So if there is none, they might not have feelings for you, okay? The next one is actually fast initial progression. A relationship that starts with rapid intimacy but then declines might show a sign of insincerity, because most relationships with avoidance that signify real, true foundational love, it actually goes the other way around. It's very, very slow in the beginning, and then slowly you start seeing progression. Whereas this relationship we're talking about, hypothetically, it's very progressing and then it just drops down. And very much the opposite of how avoidants actually show love. The next one is actually similar. You start seeing distance over time instead of slowly growing close over time. With an avoidant, the relationship in of itself, like preemptively or prior to actually developing a very strong foundational love, in the beginning, it might be a little bit emotional or loving because they're not actually their real, genuine self. Just like how a lot of people, they might, be a little bit, they wear a mask in front of people they're not close with. That's how relationships are in the beginning with avoidance, like maybe the first couple of months. That happens. I've made a video on that. But when I mean over time, the relationship is distant, it means that as the relationship progresses, you see a lot of maybe behaviors that weren't there before that start showing up in year 2, year 3, year 4. Whereas for avoidance, the beginning couple years are actually much more distant, but as time goes on, it's closer and closer and closer, right? So it's actually the opposite, okay? And the last one is that the communication breakdown is so prominent that they are unaffected by what you're saying, to the point where it's almost like a disinterest. It's not they're detaching or they're over emotional or they're pulling away. This still shows a sign that they are emotionally invested. Remember, I talked about the main way you can tell an avoidant loves you versus when they don't is that emotional investment. If they have no emotional investment, it's just, right off their shoulders, rolling right off of them, that could be a sign that they actually do not love you. The communication is extremely one-sided, to which they don't even show a negative reaction between you. It's just disinterest or detachment, okay? And so let's go ahead and summarize this, and then we're going to wrap it up, okay? The first one is they reach out for a favor, but they don't do that favor for you, okay? So self-interest. The next one is large gestures instead of honest communication. The next one is ignoring your hurt to the point where it doesn't affect them, okay? The fourth one is lack of respect for the relationship. The fifth one is no effort at all. The sixth one is fast initial progression. The seventh one is growing distant over years together. And what number are we on? I don't even remember. And the last one is the communication breakdown is to the point where they show absolutely no desire to hear you out or no emotional effect towards any disagreements you have. It's almost like there's no disagreement, nothing, they don't care about it, okay? So these are signs that an avoidant doesn't love you. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.